Welcome back, everyone. This is Chris again with Virtual Firearms Association. And before we get started, go ahead and click on those links below, which is a free basic marksmanship pistol class that's available. For those of y'all that's on the fence when it comes to firearms and are looking to learn more, there's nothing better than having a free opportunity to go ahead and explore those options, as well as virtual targets for you to utilize at the range. Just print them out or download them, print them out, and you're good to go. Take them to the range with you. Avoid paying those little dollar fees for those additional targets. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about concealed carry or permit holders that are actually carrying firearms in their vehicle. What do you do when you actually have or being pulled over by the police? What do you do? Everybody has that little bit of nervousness just when it comes to seeing those blue and red lights flashing in the background because you don't know how the outcome is going to go. So let me just go ahead and give you some tips on what you can do to remain as safe as possible and know your rights as far as what it is that you're actually able to do. First and foremost, if you are operating a vehicle and you have a firearm that's inside the car, one of the first things that I recommend that you do is pull over to a well-lit area that's filled with people and things like that, just to probably make you feel comfortable. So it's more eyes on the situation as far as whatever it is that's going on, if you're available or if you're actually able to. I understand not at all times that you have the opportunity to pull into like a Walmart or a grocery store, things like that, because it's too far away. You don't want to be driving another 10, 15 miles to get to those locations because it could be looked at or perceived as you are fleeing from the police and not abiding a lawful order. So we don't want to do that at all. All right. So, for example, if you're pulled over by the police, right? If you're pulled over by the police and you have a concealed carry permit, it's crucial to remain calm and follow the specific steps to ensure the safety of both yourself and the police officer. So this is what you should do. One of the first things is obviously turn down your radio, maybe roll down your windows as well, especially if you have dark tint on your windows. You definitely want to roll down your windows so your car can actually be seen and be looked into. So inform the officer as soon as you are pulled over. It's important to let them know that you have a concealed carry permit and that you're currently carrying a firearm. This could be done calmly by just stating something like, hey, officer, hey, my name is such and such. I want to let you know that I have a concealed carry permit and that there is a firearm in your vehicle. But before that officer gets completely up to your car, what I would recommend is have all your information already in your hand, your proof of insurance, license, as well as your registration with that concealed carry permit with both your hands on the steering wheel, just so you can avoid any kind of movement, any questions or doubt that, okay, you have something to hide in the vehicle. Be ready before they even get there. So make sure that that's readily accessible for you when you are at this traffic stop. Next, most importantly, while your hands is on the steering wheel, keep your hands visible. It's critical to keep your hands visible at all times. So your hands on the steering wheel is a good place for it to be. Avoid making any kind of sudden movements or reaching for anything without informing the officer first. So if your gun is over there on your right hand side, and I'm right-handed, all right, you want to avoid reaching down, clicking off your seatbelt, and reaching across to try to get into the glove department and things as well, because you'll already have all your information already in your hand. That's what I'm talking about as far as avoiding any kind of sudden movements and things like that as well. Next, follow the officer's instructions. Listen carefully to what it is that he's telling you. Follow them without any kind of hesitation, which may include providing identification, registration, proof of insurance, and reaching into your wallet or documents until instructed to do so by the officer. The key with that is that, hey, you already have that information in your hand, so you don't have to worry about any reaching in your back pocket or things like that, because keep in mind, you already told that officer that you have a firearm in your vehicle. Also, most importantly, do not touch your firearm. Under no circumstances should you reach or touch your firearm while explicitly instructed to do so by the unless you are explicitly instructed to do so by the officer. Keep your hands away from the firearm and avoid making any sudden movements that may raise any kind of concerns for that officer's safety. Also, be respectful as possible and cooperative. Remain calm, polite, and cooperative with the officer at all times. Avoid arguing or becoming confrontational, as this could escalate the situation and lead to unintended circumstances, which is not going to be good for anybody. So while the officer probably walks away from your vehicle, to go run your contact information to see, which is standard protocol. Anytime there's a traffic stop, they got to run your license for any kind of wants and warrants and things like that. So don't be offended and don't be alarmed if that is what is actually being taken place. Next, when an officer comes back to your vehicle and gives you a lawful order and you're good and you're clear and everything like that, just be respectful and go ahead and drive away. The question that I'm always asked is, what if the officer is being disgruntled or yelling at you or whatever the situation is? The most important thing for you to do is for you to remain calm. Don't feed into any of the shenanigans that the officers may have at that traffic stop, whether he's upset, whether he feels you did something or did anything. The most important thing for you at that time is just to get out of that traffic stop. Whether he lets you go with a warning or whether he gives you a citation, there's nothing more important than your life when it comes to dealing with that traffic stop. So if that officer is belligerent, yelling, cursing, doing all kinds of crazy things that is offensive and making you feel uncomfortable, don't feed into that. Don't argue back with them. Don't say that, hey, I know my rights and all this other stuff, which some people are comfortable doing, like First Amendment auditors. If you're not 100% confident or comfortable within the law and things like that, the most important thing for you to do is just remain calm. Don't say anything. Just say, okay, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and let him go ahead, go through his spiel to get out of that traffic stop, because there's more than one way you can handle a situation like that. So if that's the circumstance and that officer is doing that, you'll have all his information already written down on the citation or the warning that he issued you. Name, badge number, department that he's actually with. You can go file a formal complaint on that officer. And believe me, those things catch up to officers, especially if they're receiving numerous ones, more than one, as far as complaints that he's been doing this and this is a repeat pattern that this officer is actually having. So keep that in mind. All right. At the end of the day, you just need to go home. All right. And live to fight another day, basically. So don't worry about any of that. It doesn't make you feel less of a person, humiliated, or whatever the situation is. Next is, while you're in that vehicle and the officer is talking to you, do not volunteer any kind of information. You don't have to volunteer any information. Say that, hey, oh, by the way, I got XYZ in the trunk or XYZ under the seat. If he didn't ask you any of that information, you don't have to. Because remember, your car is basically like your place of residence at that point, at that particular point. And you have a reasonable expectation of privacy in your vehicle. So they're not allowed to go up in your trunk and go into your glove compartment, go all search through your vehicle. They may ask. If you feel comfortable with them, then go ahead. Then that's on you if you feel comfortable doing that. But they have to have a reason for doing that. Don't fall for any of the tricks like an example would be, I know you're a law-abiding citizen, so it would be in your best interest that you wouldn't have anything to hide, so you probably wouldn't mind me go ahead and looking into your car or looking into your trunk, because I know you don't have anything to hide, right? That's actually a trick question, and don't get baited into something like that. Like, yes, I don't have anything to hide, but you also are not welcome to search my vehicle, because anything that is found at that point without an illegal search, or you having any kind of reasonable suspicion as far as what's in the vehicle, it's a complete illegal search when it comes to, or when it comes to an officer actually doing that. So read up on your laws a little bit, getting a little technical, and make sure you know what it is that you're doing when you are operating your vehicle with your firearm. There's a lot of things that officers need to follow, as well as us as citizens need to follow, just when it comes to transporting firearms or just driving a car in general. All right. So those are just some of the tips that I believe that will help you when it comes, because this concealed carry permit, more and more people are actually getting this concealed carry. So it's important to stay informed and be educated as much as possible as far as what your state laws are when it comes to having that. So just remember, one of the most important things is have all your information already readily accessible before that officer even gets to your before the officer even gets to your car. I would already have it with my hands on the steering wheel, so to leave less reason for you to even drag out this traffic stop. So there we have it. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or anything that you want to add when it comes to this video, go ahead and drop a comment down in the box, and we'll address it as soon as possible. Like always, stay safe and have a blessed day. Talk to you soon.